Hey guys, Claire McCallan here with the Christian Channel. I am very blessed today to have director Greg Kwedar, director of the new film Sing Sing, out on July 12th. Greg, thanks so much for making time to talk with us today.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Claire. Thanks for having me.
So you had a pretty big week last week. I was actually at the same screening that you were at Sing Sing Correctional Facility, upstate. Could you tell people a little bit about the special opportunity that we had on Thursday?
One of the intentions that our alumni cast who, are telling at least a version of their own story in the making of this movie had set this intention that they didn't want to overlook one of the most essential audiences of this movie, which is actually incarcerated people, and had a vision to bring this movie to prisons all over the country and the world. And we knew if we were going to do something like that, that the first place we would have to show this movie would be inside Sing Sing itself, where all of this began. And yeah, I mean, it was the most profound theatrical experience of my life. I've been working on this movie for over 8 years. I have never been into that room before where all these productions were staged. I've been to Sing Sing many times, but in different parts of the facility. And so walking through the doors took my breath away. Just being like, oh, this is where it is. I've been trying to convey on a page and then on a screen what this room felt like. And now I'm standing inside of it, you know? And I knew it was going to be emotional. And so I think I was like compartmentalizing a lot throughout the day, even when like there were a few reporters like yourself there who were asking me to describe what I feel, and I was like, you're like grasping at words. And I think the grasping was a bit of like preservation and protection, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I stepped up front of the room and introduced it and looked upon the men who were incarcerated in our audience, who are members of this program that I've come to love so deeply and care so much about, um, and then locked eyes actually with someone in the audience who was actually a former student of mine when I taught as a volunteer at a different prison in New York, and was there now inside Sing Sing. I finished the introduction by just saying like, and I meant it from the bottom of my being that this is the most important audience in the world to us, was right there in that moment, in that realization of it. And I walked off the stage and into another room for a minute, just gonna compose myself, and my body was shaking, you know. And then I just started sobbing, it was just like just it started coming out. Um, but the real tears came like in just sitting out in that audience, particularly at the end of the movie. There are just things that hit differently in that room than have in any other audience I've been with over the last year. Um, One of the beautiful things is that there are things that hit the very same, that show that we're all human beings, that we're all having some of the same questions and traveling through some of the same feelings despite different environments. But then there are things that could only have felt as profound as they were by being in that exact room. Um, and that's where the tears flow. There was like tears of joy. It's also very sobering being in that room, particularly at the end. I don't know how it felt for you, but having to remain seated while our incarcerated audience was stood up and counted and taken back to their cells. It's a hard thing to witness as a person.
I think for me, what struck me the hardest thing about being there, actually, it wasn't all of the difficult things and the sadness. The hardest thing to hold space for is hope.
Yeah.
Um, and you're looking at your fellow audience members who are incarcerated, and you're watching them receive advice and inspiration and dialogue from members of your cast who are rehabilitation through the arts graduates. And those were the most like heart-rending moments. It's the moments where you're asked to hold hope because we
Yeah.
were so inundated with the hard things, right? Out here with media and with our own personal lives,
Yeah.
but holding hope. Hope's heavy.
Mm.
But it was, I mean, I have been telling my friends have been, I totally get where you're coming from because my friends have been asking me about my experience and I haven't really been able to talk about it, which is why I'm getting choked up now, is because I didn't do a dry run with anybody.
Mhm.
Um, One of the most important, special experiences of my life. It was definitely the highlight of my journalistic career so far to be there. But oh my gosh, didn't it make going to like the Venice Film Festival feel stupid? Like that was so much more interesting and important and profound. So thank you so much for your dedication to uh, platforming not just the people who are on the other side of it, but also those who are still on this journey.
Mhm.
You and I just got right into it talking about our
Yeah,
special event of going
yeah.
to Sing Sing, but I guess we haven't exactly told my audience
What
what the
is it?
film is about. Do you want to give us like a
Sure.
two-line?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Well, Sing Sing is about one of the nation's only theater programs inside of a maximum security prison at Sing Sing in New York, which we were just both inside last week. And the movie follows the production of a very unlikely show, which was performed for 2 nights only at Sing Sing in 2005, which is a time traveling musical comedy called Breaking the Mummy's Code. But at its core, the movie is really the story of a friendship between these two men, Divine I and Divine G, who could not have been more different from each other, probably wouldn't have been friends outside of this experience and this program and their circumstance. But yet, because of all of that, through the process of this work, became closer than family. And so that's a little bit about the movie. It's about a lot of things, but that's
And the
a
majority of your cast are graduates of the rehabilitation through the arts program and formerly incarcerated individuals at Sing Sing, correct?
yeah, in our kind of core cast, we have 13 formerly incarcerated alumni of this program and 3 established actors from the outside that work together to tell this story.
And everybody was saying it, it's so true. You never would have been able to tell who took the route of just going into acting and whose route went through Sing Sing
Right.
because these men who are in RTA have essentially granted themselves and each other the most incredible arts education of all time. And there's this temptation to be like, oh my goodness, they're just like professional actors. And it's actually, no, those are professional actors. They have been putting on productions for decades. They're in films. I'm so excited to see the future for these men. And I hope that if they want to, they can continue to get roles like this because they did a stunning job.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Something I'm also very proud of and I think is beautiful about this project. It's really a movie about people, and it wouldn't be what it is without the people in it. And yeah, I mean, our alumni have a wide variety of skills and experiences and vocations now that they're home from prison. A lot are working in education, particularly in youth intervention roles. But what's been wonderful about making the film is what it's reawakened, a number of our alumni would say like just that feeling of being on the stage again, on the wood. That's what they said, like being on the wood again. And how much they missed it. And what it's expanding. The program inside is really about expanding possibility, imagination for yourself of who you are and who you can become. Uh, and I think the process of making the film served a purpose in that way. And yes, there are several of our cast who are actively dreaming about pursuing filmmaking and acting as a vocation, and a couple are already, in the process of migrating into this career, including Clarence Macklin, who,
As you should.
not a surprise to anyone, has a future
Mhm.
in this field, as well as Sean Dino Johnson, is also another of our cast members who's really taking strides right now to do this. One
So,
amazing thing about Dino, real quick, I just want
yeah,
to
of course.
share is you know, whenever a show would be put on at Sing Sing, they would tape these performances. And so there's this amazing archive of this. We use some of it in our movie. But the reason it exists is that these performances are taped to be sent home to their families so that their families can also be participants in seeing the work that's unfolding in the process of growth. And Dino, as he started to emerge and kind of find this beautiful, human development that was happening for him on stage, his son grew up watching these performances, and a love for acting was born in him, and he just graduated from the Yale School of Drama. Yeah.
I can't even have this
I
conversation.
know, I know, I know. I mean, Dino, I mean, anytime I just look at him, he like brings me to tears. This is big, beautiful, like eyes full of every feeling under the sun.
Yeah. Oh, Greg, thank you so much for not just making time for this conversation, but for the work that you do and for allowing someone like myself into that space with you last week. I mean, truly one of the most special experiences of my life and something that I know I will carry on. To our audience here at the Christian Channel, it'll come as no surprise that I recommend you go see this film in theaters. This is a great chance to not just take in a beautiful piece of art, but sort of vote with your dollars towards the type of entertainment and culture that you want in the world. So when you support films like this, you're saying, this is who I am, this is what I believe, and you're financially incentivizing studios to continue to create meaningful work. You're showing them that this is what you want. So this is the type of film you don't just go see alone. You say, hey, mom, dad, my friends, do you want to go? A group from church, do you want to go? Let's do it. Let's go watch it. And then let's go talk about it. Let's get dinner afterwards. But I would encourage you to use your purchasing power to not just enjoy something, but also do what you can to influence a cultural shift towards creating media that matters. So it's July 12th in theaters nationwide, correct?
Well, July 12th in New York and LA, nationwide, August 2nd.
Awesome. Cannot wait for our audience to get to enjoy this as much as I have. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you, Claire. What a gift.